What's up guys, how the heck you doing? Welcome to today's video. If you're new here, my name is Drewxcifer, and on this channel I talk about filmmaking, photography, and editing tips, tricks, and tutorials. And today's video is no exception because we are going to be talking about something that is going to help you out as a filmmaker, and that is basic special effects makeup. You can do all sorts of things with special effects makeup. You can do basic things and basic appliances like we're going to work on today, or you could do really complicated, huge things where you're casting molds and you're making prosthetics and that sort of thing. So today I'm just going to show you guys how to do some basic wounds. Now everybody has a different method, but I'm going to be showing you guys how I do this and how you can do it very easily on a budget. So first, let's go ahead and let's look at the supplies you need. So we have some liquid latex. This is a must. We have some blood spray. We have some chunky blood to give us that nice coagulated blood look. We have tissue. Tissue is a must. You can also use toilet paper. We have some sponge brushes. Sponge brushes are one of the better ways for you to apply the liquid latex. We have an injury stack, and this is just to put some makeup around the wound that we're going to be making. And I also have a measuring cup, and this measuring cup is going to be just to put the liquid latex in. And then I have some Q-tips and I have some toothpicks. So just like with everything else, you can buy these things on a budget or you can spend lots of money. You could go to the Halloween store, you can go to places like Walmart, or you can go to Amazon or specialty shops. Now I have a mix of stuff from a Halloween store, stuff from like your dollar store, and then I have a mix of stuff from Amazon and Walmart. So there's a mix of everything here. You can also get specialty makeup brushes and all of that stuff. I went and I asked my wife, I said, Tawny, do you have any makeup brushes I can use for this? I got a resounding hell no. If you're gonna use a makeup brush, you have to really plan on ruining that brush and not using it again, or really just spending a whole lot of time cleaning it out. So first and foremost, let's get started with this. So we want to open up our tissue. This right here is going to act as our skin layers. So you don't have to have any sort of special tissue. Really, the cheaper, the better. So what I want to do first is I want to shake up this liquid latex a bit, open it up, and use my toothpick to poke through this. There we go. And you want to make sure that you're not getting this like on your carpet, on your clothes. I'm going to pour some in here. Doesn't really matter how much you pour in there, just pour a little bit. You can always add more later. Put the cap back on for safety. Now, liquid latex comes out white. So generally when you apply liquid latex, when you're done, you want to blend in that wound with like, you know, some sort of makeup to match your skin tone. You can also buy other liquid latex from certain brands like this one here, and you can get it, you know, to match your shade of skin tone. So if you want to save time on set where you're not actually doing a lot of like makeup to blend it, then get some that matches your skin tone. All right, so our first step is to grab some tissue. What we want to do is we want to tear this. We want it to generally be the size of the wound that we're going to make. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make a wound on the palm of my hand. So what we want to do is we're going to tear it about this size here. You know, maybe a little smaller, probably like a $50 size. So just to fit in the palm of my hand. So what we want to do is get our brush, dip it in the liquid latex, and we're just going to paint some liquid latex over where we want the wound to be, maybe just a little bit further out, just like that. Then we're going to get the tissue and we're going to lay the tissue down. So cool, so we're going to have these edges that are up, and we kind of want to smooth those down. That'll make it easier later on when you're painting and you're trying to make this look more realistic. So this will be the outer layer of our wound. So I'm just kind of blending those edges down You could sort of rip those off later on, but I find it's easier to just blend them down and sort of, you know, make it an even layer all the way around. So that's what it looks like there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this dry. You can blow on it. While this is drying, we're gonna open this other stuff here. So like I said, chunky blood is to give us a coagulated blood look. All of this is super simple, guys. There's no really right or wrong way to do it. It's really just with practice, the more realistic that it looks. So this is drying. It dries relatively quick. And it's best to not like really be stretching around and using your hand, but you know, I should have opened this stuff to begin with. I wonder what this smells like. I've used this from another brand before. I've never used this Walmart brand, so I'm not sure if this is gonna work well or not. Doesn't stink as bad as I thought it would. Like, okay, liquid latex, you know, can stink depending on the brand you get. And then let's go ahead and let's open this injury stack here, which is just different colors of wound makeup. I have yellow, like a dark red, a purple, and a black to help with bruising. All right, so what I want to do is I want to build this up because I'm basically going to be building up layers of skin. So we're going to get a little bit more of this on our brush. We're going to paint a little bit here in the center. And I'm going to tear some more of this off. Make it a little bit smaller. And sometimes those straggler pieces on the end can make some gnarly looking flesh flaps. So those aren't always bad to have, especially when you get to the upper layers. Alright, so I'm just gonna paint that on there. I'm gonna let that dry. And you really wanna build this up, and when you build this up, it's gonna really look like your layers of skin when you start ripping into it, because that's gonna be the key. You guys will see exactly what I'm talking about in just a minute. So right now it is just this white blob. It looks like I've just put glue all over my hand, but it's gonna look cool, trust me. All right, so I'm gonna tear some more pieces up here while I wait. And like I said, without a makeup brush, that's what these Q-tips are for. We're gonna use those in the injury stack, and that will take place of that. And like single ply stuff, like you can rip it apart. Like if you have like 2-ply toilet paper or like 2-ply tissue, rip it apart, because you really only need the single ply. It doesn't have to be anything that is super thick. It's actually almost the thinner, the better. Alright, so I'm just adding another layer here on top. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint over that. And you can do different things, like you can wad this up. You don't have to lay it flat. Like if I wanted to wad up a piece and just stick it like right on top or right on the edge to make it look like just some skin hanging, or like, you know, skin built up on one side, you can do that. And you can go back and you can refine it as you go. So we're gonna put one more layer on this. Trying to find a good sized piece here. Let's go with this one. And you can blow on this, you can use a blow dryer. Blow dryer is good to have on hand. It makes it a little bit quicker. This is something fun that you can practice with. You can do this on your face, you could do it on your neck, you could do it wherever you want to do it. So the cool thing about this too is once it dries, if you're very careful with how you peel it off, then you can save these wounds, right? You can put them on a piece of glass, put them on a mirror, you know, and you can reuse them at a later date. You just put more liquid latex on your skin and you reapply the appliance you made. So you could definitely reuse these. Sort of like the store-bought wounds that you stick on your face. You could sort of do the same thing with these if you're careful with them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pat around this and see how it's looking. It's kind of sticky. So what I want to do is I want to take this toothpick and I want to start picking at this. And when I pick at this, this is what's essentially going to make the wound. So Now this is still not very dry. It's wet in a few areas, but you can see how this is making a hole in my skin. Right, so I'm just making a pocket. And then we can make another one over here. Be as creative as you want with this, right? Got another hole here. And I'm just taking the toothpick and I'm ripping holes in what we made. Let's see, let's use a Q-tip. Cool, so let's go ahead and we're gonna just start painting this. Like I said, this is not a like a beauty makeup tutorial. You can see how that is sort of starting, and if I was doing this for a film or something, I would get makeup that would match exactly the skin tone of the talent. If I would have thought, you know, a little bit of hindsight, I would have probably got some makeup that matched the skin tone of my hand. If I had a makeup brush, like I said, this would probably be a little bit nicer looking. Alright, so that's sort of what it's looking like. Looks kind of gnarly. Here we go. Alright, so what I want to start doing is we're going to start with black. Black is going to be your base. Right, so you want to put the shadows in there. Okay. So you can kind of see how that is sort of starting to look a little gross. We're going to get this dark red, kind of purpley color. It's actually like a purple. So this color I want to kind of stick in the corners here. Alright, definitely want your bright red. So I'm just getting it on the Q-tip. And mixing it in with that black and that purple. Sticking it in that hole there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna start taking this red and sort of putting it around the edges of the hole. Really get it around this right here. And we're gonna work on that makeup on the outside a little bit more. So I like this green. This green is a very bruised type look. So we can get some of this green. And what could help you is looking at wounds online. But it's okay to play around with it and just make it look as nasty and as bizarre as you want, because like I said, I mean, of course trying to make it look real is one thing, but you know, it all depends on essentially the look. Are you going for realistic? Are you just going for nasty looking? Like, it just depends. So this is starting to look like, I don't know, like a skateboarding injury I've actually had before, so it's looking pretty gross. And when you start putting stuff like this and this chunky blood, it really livens it up. So this is just the base. So I'm gonna get some more of this purple. And what you want to do is you want to get your black and you want to go around to create, like I said, like a little bit of a shadow. In there. Some more red. Alright, so let's go ahead and I want to add more green. So I want it to just look sort of gross. Well, really gross, but you know, with that green that adds, you know, like just the just nasty sort of like bruised, rotted skin look. Alright, so let's throw some of this coagulated blood in there. So all I'm gonna do is scoop it out. It comes with this little popsicle stick thing. We're gonna throw some of this in there. So this is really gonna make it look nasty, and this stuff is just sort of like jelly. It's okay to put it under the appliance a little bit if you have a little pocket. That's sort of what it's looking like. Like I said, I wish I would have had some better makeup to actually match my skin tone. Hindsight's 20/20, but like I said, if you match that, you could sort of get it to look really, really close to your skin. And you could even go through and peel some of this outside off. And that's probably going to be the trick for ours that we got going on. Let's just get rid of most of the outside. Oh, stretching my appliance too much there. Because the less weird makeup color I have, the better. And I wish I had some scissors or another hand to cut this. Okay, cool. There we go, that's looking better without all that weird makeup color on the outside. And you could see how you could save this appliance. Like I could just peel this whole thing off. And once that dries, that will dry clear. And as soon as that dries, we'll throw some blood spray on it and then we'll look at the finished product. So with all these supplies, you can probably have a good starting setup for about $50. Like I said, you don't have to buy the most expensive stuff, and practice makes perfect. The more you practice, the better off you'll be. And like I said, if this was on camera, once this liquid latex dries, this wound would look pretty good from afar. You know, so there are people that specialize in this sort of thing, but when you're on an indie film and on an indie budget, sometimes you just have to get things done yourself. So this is a good skill for you to learn. You know, that way you don't always, for simple appliances and simple wounds and stuff, you don't always have to bring somebody on. You can really do a lot of this stuff yourself. So this is looking a lot better since we got rid of a lot of that makeup. Now it needed some of that, but I don't think it needed all of that. So once again the white dries, you'll be able to see the wound, and then we'll spray this blood spray on there. So creating blood is another craft. I want to show you guys how I create realistic looking blood. So that'll be in a future video. If you're interested in that, let me know, and I will make that one for you guys as well. Alright, so this is starting to dry. Waiting for this stuff to dry is honestly probably the most boring thing, but painting this is really what's going to sell it. So you want to make sure that, like I said, you sort of know how wounds look, because if you paint it, that's what's going to make it look real or what's going to make it look fake. Now, if you look at a lot of the pictures on these bottles here, a lot of the pictures look super fake. A lot of the wounds look super fake and super basic because they lack shadows and they lack dimension. So you want to make sure that you have the dimension and the shadows in your wound. So using the different color reds, like the dark red, and using the blacks and the purples are really what's going to help you out. And filling in all those little crevices. So you can see how that's starting to look on the right side versus the left side. As soon as this stuff dries, we'll be okay. Now, the motivation for this wound is like maybe, you know, it looks like obviously something really hot maybe touched my skin, got poked with like a hot poker or something like that. And the trick too is trying to make the wound look wet, right? So like if the wound looks wet, then generally people are going to assume, you know, it looks real, because anytime you have a wound, very rarely is it going to be dry. Most of the time it's just going to be bloody, it's going to be gross, you know, it's going to be dripping with blood. And that's where this stuff right here really comes into play. That, and then putting fake blood or putting this spray blood on it. So when this ends up drying, we'll come back. I'm gonna fast forward this video. So for the outside of your wound, you wanna make sure that you're using some sort of foundation and match it as close as you can to your skin tone. Like I said, you can buy liquid latex in different skin tones, and that sort of takes the extra step out. But after you paint the liquid latex in the tissue with some skin tone matching makeup, you want to make sure you're going back and you are painting over that stuff with your injury stack or any sorts of reds or blacks or blues that you may have to help that wound look real. Because a wound, of course, you know, that skin around the actual wound, the hole itself, is going to be your flesh color, but it's also going to be irritated, right? So you're going to want those reds and those oranges and those purples and greens in there, right, for the bruising. So you want to make sure that that is all in there, because that's what's going to really help it look realistic, as well as any sort of wetness. And that's where something like this chunky blood stuff really comes into play, because it gives you just that that scabby looking blood, that sort of, when your blood starts, you know, getting thick and coagulating, that really is good to pack inside the hole if you have a, you know, a wound with that hole. As well as this blood spray, just adding fake blood on and around the wound is going to help it make it look real, because anytime you see a wound, very rarely are they dry. They're mostly just nasty, drippy, disgusting looking messes, right? So that is generally what you want to do to really just drive it home. The painting and sort of just the raised up dimension of the wound itself. So when you look at this, I have the right side and I have the left side. The right side's been painted. I'm pretty happy with it. The left side still has white liquid latex, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna paint this down, and then at the end of the video I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like, and you guys can tell me what the wound looks like. So what we're doing is we're just painting over the liquid latex and some of the tissue that we laid down with this foundation makeup, and just getting a good base layer of, you know, fleshy color in there. You don't have to get too crazy with this. Just get it in there to where you have some flesh color, you have the white of the tissue and the liquid latex out of there. And then we're gonna start putting in other colors like we have on the right side, like the reds and the blacks, to give it some dimension and make that flesh look irritated. You can see it looks like my skin is pushed up. If you look from the side, you know, there is dimension to it. And, you know, like if I was to have my hand in a vertical, you would see that slime, that chunky blood stuff moving around in there. Alright, so when painting this side here, I'm going to want to start with some red. So let's go ahead and let's get our dark red, this one here. Just take a Q-tip, go in there. And since we're really just going for like basically irritated skin, we can sort of just have fun with it, right? Like, we're gonna paint most of it, obviously leaving some of that flesh color showing through. But I've got another little pocket over here that I can put some blend that in with our finger. I mean, and that looks pretty gnarly, right? Just that, without anything else other than red. But if you really want to add some dimension, you know, get you a toothpick and then go in with a little bit of the brighter reds to add some more inflame to areas. You know, you can get as detailed with this stuff as you want. And at this point, since I have a little bit of buildup here, I could make more holes in here just to make it look nastier. So right here, I have this little pocket that I want to put some of this blood in, some of this chunky blood. So let me see if I can grab like a glop of that and put it right in here, right? So right in there, that little pocket right there, I've got some more blood. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna just spray the whole thing with a little bit of spray blood. I wanna test this because I don't wanna go overboard with it. Right, and then you can kind of just let it ooze a little bit. Alright, so what we're doing is I'm trying to shake this out of the hole. Somehow I hit a bullseye and I made it right in the hole like 3 times. That doesn't sound right. But that's it. That's essentially it right there, you know? Let's take this and let's get some of that blood out of there. Just kind of spread it around a little bit. Make more of this look a little bloody. And that's your wound. Right there. Looks pretty disgusting. Looks pretty gnarly. And like I said, guys, the more you do this, the more you practice, the better you get with it. And you can do this, like I said, on your face, on your neck, on your arms, on your legs. But a good thing to remember is if you're gonna do it somewhere that you have hair, make sure you shave, because the liquid latex, once it dries, will pull the crap out of your hair. So that is a pro tip there. But other than that, that's it, guys. That is the wound. That is how you do it. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Some of this video I sped up a little bit so you guys wouldn't have to sit through some of the drying, but the total runtime for doing this is looks like 48 minutes, and you have this cool wound. And you know, you could do this a little bit quicker than I did it. It would be a little bit faster if I wasn't explaining at the same time. So let me know down in the comments, you know, how does this look to you? Does this look like something that looks semi-real, semi-disgusting? You know, like I said, the motivation here is maybe I tried to grab, like, I don't know, something hot, and it singed into my skin. So I probably could have put some more like black and burned and charred colors in here using my black injury stack color, and that probably would have done it. Or maybe I tried to grab like a rotating, I don't know, blade or something. But my skin definitely looks tore up, and it looks sort of twisted in a way. But that's basically it, guys. If you're interested in any more basic special effects, I could show you how to do that. Like maybe you're interested in learning how to actually get an object sticking out of your skin, or how to make fake blood, because there is a very good recipe that the pros hold near and dear to their hearts, and it makes blood look ultra realistic. So I could show you guys that as well. Just drop it down in the comments, whatever you want to see. I'm gonna get all of this mess cleaned up, and as always, guys, stay rad, just go shoot, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.